May the Lord's peace be with you, brothers and sisters. In the past few years, there had been very disturbing stories concerning domestic workers, especially African domestic workers working in Saudi Arabia specifically, where you find out that some of these domestic workers don't communicate at home. Some of them claim that their passport has been confiscated by their employers. Some of them claim to be raped by either their employers or sons of their employers. Some of them claim to work for long hours. Some of them come back to Africa when they are very sick. Some of them, they die. And some of these girls or some of these women, they are abused so much by domestic workers. I mean, they are domestic employers. And they look for alternative. They escape. They look for a second, maybe second employer. Same thing happens. And some of them end up being deported back to their African countries. Then there had been these blame games. Some blame African governments, some blame embassies, some blame Saudi Arabian government, some blame agents. And when you investigate, one or two blame games can be true. Maybe African government did not play their part well, Saudi Arabian government did not play their part well. Both embassies, maybe African embassies in Saudi Arabia or Saudi Arabian embassies in Africa, had not been playing their part well, and majorly the agents. So people had been looking for solutions, and majorly these solutions, we look at them physically or mentally or socially. But there are some of these women, they work there, they had no problem with their bosses, they had no problem with embassies, agents. They send back money to their relatives back in Africa. But unfortunately, after some years, when they come back to Africa, that money is not seen anywhere. What happens? When we are trying to look for solutions from the agents, from the embassies, from the governments, these are physical solutions, which can really help a lot. But there are also spiritual solutions, which if they are not being explored enough, we'll end up having same problems. We'll end up with our women or girls being raped, being killed, being abused, and yet we still blame. We blame them or we blame another person. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 40 to 42, it is written, "But if they will confess their sins and the sins of their ancestors, their unfaithfulness and the hostility towards me, which made me hostile towards them, so that I sent them to the land of their enemies, then when their uncircumcised hearts are humbled, and they pay for their sin, I will remember my covenant with Jacob, my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land." Now this is God talking to Israelites. God had been giving people promises. But at times, we find out that you might be not sinning, but there are sins which were done by your fathers, your mothers, your four ancestors, maybe hundreds of years ago, before even your grandfather, grandmother was born, but you don't know. When we hear about slave trade, some of these stories or some of the history has been erased from the books of history. Arabs used to come to Africa. They used to take men, women, and children, and they were sold to America, to Europe. And some of these people who were taken, they left their parents back at home, they left their brothers and sisters, they left their children. And people hated Arabs. And some of them vowed never to associate themselves with the slave traders. They never wanted to associate themselves with the Arabs. But after some years, slave trade was abolished. Then our daughters, our sons, which were born after the slave trade, they never knew. Maybe their parents or their forefathers had said that they will never associate themselves with the Arabs. The same generation goes to Saudi Arabia, goes to Arab countries to work there. But they forget to ask for forgiveness from God, from their ancestors who said they will never associate themselves with Arabs. Remember, some of these people were taken slaves because of their sins. So instead of repenting, they blamed the slave masters. It is good to blame a slave master, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why am I a slave? So there are people who are in Saudi Arabia or Arabic countries and they are performing very well and they are from Africa. They become millionaires. But the same places where these people come from, we have people who suffer a lot. Some of them don't suffer physically or are from abuse, but they send money back to their colleagues in Africa. But that money is misused. They end up paying poor. Same applies to Europe. When Europe colonized Africa, our forefathers had been fighting for independence. Some of them vowed never to associate themselves with Wazungus, never wanted to associate themselves with Europeans. After colonialism, Africans want to go to Europe. It is good. Some of them have gone there and they have become millionaires. Some of them have gone there and became very poor still. So it is good to understand going to those countries is not bad, but try to investigate if your ancestors had spoken anything negative about associating themselves with Europeans or associating themselves with the Arabs. Then you go to church or you pray, sacrifice, then go to those countries. And for sure, you will succeed. For sure, you will end up in good employers. Because some of these words which had been spoken by your forefathers, those are the words which make you find yourself in wrong employers, find yourself in having the right employers, but when you send money back, that money will never help you. So we should also investigate about the spirituality. You can escape abuse, you can escape death, you can escape rape, you can escape all those things, but the money you get there not help you. And you wonder, why is somebody who's getting a little money than you in Europe or in Asian countries performing better than you? Maybe you didn't investigate. So it is good to investigate spirituality, to know what your forefathers had spoken about the white men, what your forefathers had spoken about the Arabs. Then when you go there, you not have problems because you'll have removed this curse. You'll have reversed the curse and become a blessing. So let us help each other. Rather than blaming the government, rather than blaming the agent, we should also try to investigate, and all shall be well. And may the Lord bless you.